Alrighty, where it's really wonderful to be with you here this evening. Thank you, Julie, for hosting these webinars on your platform. Thank you for everybody who's attending. This is a team training, as I've just mentioned. And the aim of this presentation, these presentations that we're doing on a Monday night, are to advance the knowledge and the skills of all of us that are building ASEA organisations. So if you're brand new, as I mentioned, I know there's a few people who are, and you're still trying to get your head around what redox is, and you want to learn about what this breakthrough technology is, what is ASEA, please make sure that you plug in on Wednesday nights. Every single Wednesday night, we have an expert presenter, an ASEA specialist, who's going to be presenting on the product and the discovery. Tonight's presentation is really aimed at people who are developing an ASEA organisation. This may be an opportunity for you to just sticky beak and see how we do this, because we do offer a lot of support as we get out there. So let me just launch into tonight's topic, which is overcoming objections. Is that fairly clear, Jules? That one, thumbs up. Okay, excellent.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Alrighty, so this presentation is an adaptation of one that I did at Envision, if you were there, and all the new things that, you know, every year we learn. This was a presentation I had the privilege of doing with Dan Doyle, who has probably overcome more objections than all of us put together. He has built one of the largest organizations around the world, and have the privilege of learning from him how he communicates about this amazing technology. Now, of course, Danny, if you don't know him, don't know who he is, a lot of us are in his organization. In 2014, he was diagnosed with a life-threatening condition. And it was through his desire to save his life and how he went out there to pursue what the latest frontier of medicine and health science was, that we discovered redox signaling. He went out and connected with the ASEA company, and thanks to Danny, many of us were able to witness his wonderful recovery and came on board to help get this to more people. So I want to just, before we launch into the kind of questions and objections that you face when you're out there developing an organization, I want to just remind us about the business that we are in. First of all, let's remind ourselves that we are in business. This isn't a club. This isn't a hobby. If you are out there legitimately wanting to take the ASEA opportunity to develop a global organization, let's firstly acknowledge that it is a business. Now, any business has some level of resistance, whether you're starting a new pizzeria or whether you've invented an alternative to taxis like Uber, or whether you're bringing along new technology in communications. Anytime that you're bringing an advancement to market, anytime that you're doing something that's a bit new or very new, you're going to have some resistance. That comes with the territory. So I think firstly, we need to acknowledge that that is part of a business. Even if you are, I was at a restaurant recently and they are, you know, I think it was like 2 Michelin stars. I know they're like really, really great reputation, this restaurant. And what was interesting is that I could hear the manager having to defend his product in front of a customer who was on the phone complaining. So, you know, even top brands, top restaurants, top businesses always have somebody out there who is, you know, maybe doesn't like what they do. And so that's okay, especially when we're talking about something that is right on the frontier. So the business that we're in, we are in the health industry. We are bringing a breakthrough technology to market. Let me just repeat that. This is not a new product. This is a completely new field. We are first to market with something that to this point, even your own doctor may not know about. These are shifting times in the health industry. Can we agree to that? I think that the way we're looking at doing things is radically changing. When people get a diagnosis these days, when they are considering alternatives for their health, they don't automatically just default to prescription meds. They really explore their options. I think everybody is looking more openly at preventative medicine. People are looking at ways to stay well and not just be reactive with their health. So we're definitely in shifting times, and there's a lot of different opinions whenever an industry is in the process of changing. I like to look at myself as an educator rather than a salesperson. To me, when we're working with a technology that's so new, I feel like our role is to put the information in front of people. Their role is to decide whether they want to pick it up or not. And it comes with the territory, as I said. If everybody already knew about redox and everybody that you spoke to straight away said, oh yeah, I know what this is great, yes, give me some, then the opportunity wouldn't be what it is. The reason this opportunity is as exciting as it is because we are on the cusp of a big shift. Now, this isn't something that the ASEA company is heralding. This is something that the scientific community is heralding. Did you know that there are over 19,000 studies now published in peer-reviewed medical journals about the study of redox and redox signaling in conjunction with so many diseases like cancer, diabetes? If you sit down and go into something like PubMed and you actually look at what is out there in redox signaling for neurodegenerative conditions, for autism, you will look at the conclusions of studies and it will blow your socks off, honestly, because so many of the way that these studies are concluded are we're very excited about this interesting field, and we believe that from this field we will see emerging future technologies, or we believe that from here we will see possibilities for this disease. So it's not just an ASEA thing. Let's be clear that the medical industry does not sink millions and millions of dollars, effort, brain, time into an industry unless they believe there is a possibility for a breakthrough, or that unless they believe it is the future. So the absolute weight of focus in redox signaling tells us that we are at the very frontier. Further to that, we are the very first company in the world to make redox available for consumption. So it comes with the territory to be in something absolutely so cutting edge. It comes with the territory to have some questions and some objections. So let's remember, we are going to get objections. Objections are just questions, and objections are not personal. Objections don't affect me, I think, because the volume of conversations I'm having every single day, I know that if somebody doesn't get it, if somebody doesn't like what we've got to offer, I'm yet to talk to a lot more people that same day. And at the end of the day, the wash up is the people who want this move forward with it, the people who don't. And I do feel a bit bad for them. I kind of think, well, this will circle back around. At some point, you will probably look at this again and you'll probably understand it and wish you'd understood it now. I feel a little bit sorry for people that miss it, but I certainly don't let it affect me personally. Everybody has their own choice to make, and we need to respect that. So, all right, what is an objection? So when people ask questions or make objections, I think it comes down to a number of things. So I believe that sometimes it's just a limiting belief in themselves. So if we're talking particularly about the opportunity, the ASEA opportunity, and people are saying, are raising issues about whether they can have any success or not, it might be more to do with them than the opportunity. How I know that is because we can line up in front of them a whole row of people, a whole room full of people that have had huge success in ASEA. I've got so many friends that are six-figure incomes in this company. And they didn't take 10 years to do it. They didn't take 20 years to do it. That have done so in just a handful of years, 1 or 2 years. So the success, a successful ASEA business owner is not a rare thing. It's very common. So truthfully, people can't lack belief whether this business works or whether the opportunity is real. What they're really saying is, I don't know, I know that person can do it, but I don't know if I can. Also, because the industry, the direct sales industry, unfortunately has been tainted by some people that haven't done the right thing, they may be expressing some objections because they have limited belief in the industry. I know I certainly had some experiences where I wasn't really positive. I'd worked very hard in a different company and really didn't have the results that I thought I should have had compared to the effort that I put in. So I don't know why that slide's struggling. But so for me, it wasn't just, you know, about ASEA, it was about the industry in general. You know, could it work? Could it work for me? Could this industry even be a solution for me? The other reason people sometimes have objections is because they're seeking significance. They just want to look important. Now, sometimes this can happen if you're talking to somebody in the health industry. If you are not a health practitioner and you talk to a health practitioner, they might feel a little bit intimidated by the fact that you know more about a certain field of their industry, and they might want to quash that. They don't want to accept that they can learn something. So that can sometimes be a reason why people give you objections. It's because they're looking to feel important, and also because people are looking to protect themselves from feeling hurt. Now, that's an interesting one. Anytime that we step into something new, whether it's a new relationship or a new business, or we set a new goal, we expose ourselves for potential failure. Now, the interesting thing is if we never step outside our comfort zone, we can already guarantee that there is no progress. So it's kind of like we have failure by default. But it is much more scarier. It's much scarier for people to actually set a goal, to embark in a new business. And it's much scarier for them to do that and expose themselves to rejection, to failure, to maybe their expectations not being met. The reason I'm going through the reasons why people make objections is because if you understand why people make objections, you're actually in a position where you might be a lot more compassionate rather than defensive. And I think that's an important distinction to make. Initially, when I was getting a lot of objections or any objection, I would feel a sense of defensiveness for myself, for my business, and for my choices. But if you look at objections as people being vulnerable, then we can be a lot more compassionate. And suddenly, if we're not operating from opposite sides, you can get on the same side. So this week, actually, I had somebody who got on board into my team in Canada, and about a day later after he'd come on board, I got a not very nice email from his daughter, who's a dietitian, with some concerns, basically really, really defensive concerns. Now, I could have gotten really upset, and to be honest, for a moment, I felt defensive. But when I sort of thought about it, I thought, you know, she's just being protective of her dad, and actually that's quite lovely. So my shift came from having a little bit of understanding and compassionate as to why she was reacting that way. I was able to offer information that that made all her, you know, that kind of squashed all her fears. I was able to offer responses to questions she hadn't quite asked, but I knew that's the questions she had. And we were able to get on with getting her father launched. I used to get very defensive, and that doesn't work. So drop that to the side, get on the same side, and be prepared to see objections from the eyes of the prospect. Okay, next, I think that when we get started, if you're getting started with reaching out to people and talking about ASEA, it's important to be prepared. So lots of different groups grow in lots of different ways, but I like to talk about prospects being on 3 different lists. So when I get somebody started, I say to them, all right, we're going to talk to a lot of people. And the first list is filled up with the people that know you, that would only ever talk to you. It would be weird for me to call them. So the guy you sit next to at work, your sister, your friend, your best friend. So they're the people you're going to talk to. I'm talking to the prospect. You're going to talk to them because it would be crazy for anyone else to talk to them. Next is the list of people that I can call with your permission on your behalf. So they're people who know who you are. They would recognize that if I said, hi, I'm Bill's friend and colleague, and Bill has asked me to give you a call because we're expanding with a cellular health technology into Florida. And he mentions that's where you are, looking for good, influential people in the area that may want to participate with us in bringing this to market. So that's the second list, the people who there would be a warm introduction to. And the third list is everybody else. So everybody that you meet, everybody that may not remember you, but maybe they would once you reached out to them and reminded them that you guys used to work together 10 years ago. People that you meet on the plane, people that cross your path, and people that get referred to you. So the third list is everybody else. And whoever you're talking to, be prepared and have a script. You would talk differently to your sister than you would talk to somebody that maybe you went to university with 10 years ago. One of the very first things that I think we need to do when we launch a new associate is give them the tools to have a conversation. Now, fortunately, on Julie's website, Redox Rules, maybe you can just stick those details on there, Jules. There are, the scripts are there. They're also on the website, little simple website that I have, redoxrevolution.com. Welcome to ASEA. There's also some scripts on there, but there's scripts everywhere. Talk to your upline and ask for a way to have a conversation. Now, if you're brand new and you're thinking, but I'm going to get so many questions and I better not talk to anybody because I don't know how to answer questions, let me tell you, that is ideal. That's not a problem. That's actually how you need to operate. Do not start answering questions or you're going to be spending hours and hours on the phone. The amount of time you should be spending on the phone should be 2 to 3 minutes max. That's it. Because that's enough time to say, hey, I'm a friend of Julie's. She mentioned that you're a yoga teacher in Noosa. It's wonderful to be connected. I'm expanding, we're bringing a cellular health technology. She dropped your name and thought that you might be interested. Can I send you some information? Whatever your script is, it's going to take a very short amount of time because they haven't got big decisions to make. It's either yes or no to information, yes or no to coming to a webinar, yes or no to maybe meeting for a coffee. If you find yourself covering objections and you're there 40 minutes later answering questions, you already went from the initial phone call straight into the meeting, and that's too aggressive a process. Then you're going to find yourself making a sale rather than offering education. And that can be tricky for a number of reasons. A, it's not duplicatable. People think that you need to have 40-minute conversations with everybody. If you're on the phone for too long, you know what they're thinking? I don't want to do what he does. That's crazy. It's too much time. Who has time for that? Nobody. Secondly, it's very difficult to train for 40-minute conversations where you're covering a million objections. Again, your progress in your business is going to be slowed down because you basically have to train people from the word go. Having 3-minute conversations should be simple, duplicatable, and any objections will happen and be handled by your third party. So what's a third party? Let's say that I just got started. Let's say that I just got Julie Watts started in ASEA. Wouldn't I love to have sponsored Julie? Let's say that I got Julie started and she wants to talk to her friend at work. Well, Julie doesn't suddenly go from being a queen of real estate, which she was before, to being a cellular health expert overnight. That might seem strange to somebody who knows Julie in the real estate capacity. She doesn't have to transition to be a sudden overnight health expert. All she needs to be is a connector. So Julie can have a conversation with her colleague and refer that colleague to a three-way call with myself as her upline in this scenario. So Julie would have a conversation with a colleague and say, Cristina is, let's say a colleague's got a health situation. Julie might say, have you considered redox signaling? I know there's a lot of people having incredible results. My friend Cristina is a specialist in that field. It's a brand new technology. This incredible laboratory from the US are the very first in the world to have made these redox signaling molecules. I don't know exactly what they are, but I do know that they are a breakthrough for cellular health, and people are getting great results with XYZ that you've got. Would you be happy for me to connect you on a conversation with Cristina? And if the person says, yes, let's line up a time. Now, Julie can listen into the conversation that I'm going to have with her friend Mary. When I ring Mary, Mary, how you doing? I'm so glad that Julie's connected us together. Tell me a little bit about your situation. I'd love to share with you some details about redox signaling and how it may be able to help you in your situation. Now, all the questions, who's going to handle them? Not Julie, the third party. What does this mean? It means that anybody can actually start connecting with people, because you don't need to have the answers. You just know someone that has the answers, and that should give you confidence and strength. Remember what you have on your hands. We had somebody come to do some work in the plumbing. I've still got a situation in my kitchen for everybody who's wondering. And you know what I know is that sometimes you need to rely on an expert. Do not try and do it yourself, or you end up with a flooded kitchen. And if you try and handle redox conversations from the beginning, and you want to go from zero knowledge to being able to talk to a naturopath about this, you might end up with a disaster like my kitchen at the moment. So leave it to the experts, but go with confidence and strength, because you know an expert. Remember, as you're having these conversations, that you don't need everybody. You know what you need? You need people who need you. You need people who want you, either because they have the need for a health breakthrough and they're looking for better options, or because they're looking for an opportunity. They want to connect with us in ASEA because they're looking for something to do that is significant, that gives them an income, that gives their family freedom, that gives them options. So you and I are educators. We are offering technology. We are offering an opportunity, and the people who want to come with you will come with you. Our only job is to go through enough numbers so that those people and us, so that we connect with those people. Okay, we don't try and make anybody successful or healthy against their will. It doesn't work. Okay, remember, in our conversations, it's so important to listen and relate. There's a disease going around out there in the world of ASEA, and it's called redox vomit. I know, because I've had it. I've been in situations where I've heard myself in the middle of a conversation. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm literally running a conference over the phone, and this poor person has just heard everything, and I've walked them in and I'm walking them out. I remember when a guy came to do some work on our yard, and I just wanted something sprayed for the weeds, and I just wanted him to give me a solution. Instead, I got to sit through, it was literally like a 40-minute workshop about how weeds work, how they live, how they die, all the differences between all the different things he could use. You know what? I was listening to him and I was thinking, I do this sometimes with redox. I vomit on people, and all they want to know is, how do I fix it? How do I fix it? It could be their financial situation. It could be their health problem. We won't know if we're not listening. It's really important to identify pain points. How do we identify pain points? Pain points, we ask. Malcolm has an amazing question where he says to somebody, John, may I ask you, is your interest in ASEA towards the health benefits, or are you interested in the opportunity? Seek to discover their goals. A really great question to ask is, what are you looking to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years? Then listen to what they have to say. And a way to wrap up that conversation, I ask them point blank, doing what you're currently doing, do you feel that you're on track? It's a real honesty question, because you know what, if I'd been asked that question when I was running my marketing agency, I would have told you straight away, no, I'm not on track. I don't know how I'm going to take my kids to Europe. I don't know how I'm going to get them a better education. I don't know how I'm ever going to have the time and the income to spend time with my family. It would have been a really poignant moment for me to identify that I have some problems and I don't currently have solutions. So seek to understand, because that's when you can really offer you can really offer an opportunity that is significant to them. Remember that the point of any conversation you're having is to identify what is important to the prospect. Not to share what's important to you, but to identify what problems does ASEA resolve for your prospect. Could be health problems, could be financial problems, could be both. How can we help this person's life improve? If you enter every conversation with this on your heart, you are going to exit the conversations very differently. I have to say that less and less, I get less and less objections these days when I'm doing more listening and less talking. Remember that we are informants and educators. We're not here to sell something, because to improve your health and to improve your finances has to be a personal decision. It's not a personal decision that you make in 5 minutes. It's a decision that you make, that you stick to. It is a decision to raise our standards. So I'm not excited when, you know, like down the road here at the gym where they sell memberships and they don't really care if you show up or not. They just want to sell a membership and hope you forget about that weekly payment. That's not my intention with ASEA. I want to be in a business where people see results. I want the people that I bring on to transform their lives. So I'm here to build value. I'm here to build trust, and people can feel that vibe off you. You know, so build a bridge to the things that matter for them. You're going to have less and less objections when the agenda is about your prospect and not about yourself. And if you're operating out there with this kind of heart, then you know what? For some people, it's going to be simply a time issue. But if the conversation they've had with you has not burnt any bridges, I've had so many people that when the timing is right, they come back organically to me. They said, you know what, I know you told me about this 6 months ago. The timing wasn't right, but I really want to try this product, or I really want to get started with this opportunity. So make sure you allow time. Okay, let's move to a few minutes. And if you have some objections that I don't cover, please put them on the chat line. I just want to move quickly through some common objections and how I handle them. Doesn't mean it's the only way to handle them, but you could probably tell I'm a big mouth. I do a lot of talking all day. So this is how I get through objections. Make sure that you're practicing enough and you're having enough conversations so that you get strong on how you handle objections. I just also want to say right here that I don't always handle objections perfectly. Neither does Malcolm, neither does Julie or Alan. I'm sure Dan stuffs up some conversations. There are some phone calls I get off from the phone and I just think, wow, what a mess, you know. So not everybody gets in with Danny either. There isn't a perfect outcome. These are just some things I'm sharing with you to help us become better communicators. Okay, here's one. If this is so good, why haven't I heard of it before? I love this one because it's basically kind of saying that there never is any progress in the universe. I've just got someone's mic open. Jules, if you could help me close it so I don't have to exit. Thank you. So if this is so good, why haven't I heard of it before? Now I share, for example, the example of antioxidants. Antioxidants were discovered in around 1920 and they didn't really become common in people's households till 19. Sorry, Angelo, your microphone, my friend, just keeps getting, thank you. And it didn't become popular till, say, 1992 or something like this, when I first heard of antioxidants. Now, it didn't mean that antioxidants were not real. It just means that there is a flow of information and it takes time. I remind people that in this chain of events, the doctors, the person that they might see at the end of the at their local GP is probably the last person in the chain. We may not have heard of this already, but it doesn't mean that people of importance in the medical field haven't heard of it. I say to people, well, 19,000 studies out there, millions of dollars of time and money invested into this field tells me that people have heard of it before. The right people have heard of it before. It is a hot topic, just hasn't made the evening news yet because we're hearing about it early. I remind people that this only started, this redox signaling molecule was only first identified in 1998, and that it then was with the flow of information, there's probably been many doctors, if they haven't been to university in the last, I would say 5 to 8 years, they probably haven't heard of redox signaling molecules the way that they operate in this product. They would have heard of reductants and oxidants, but they would not have heard of redox signaling molecules, certainly not available through supplementation. So I just reassure people that the fact that they haven't heard of it just means that they are very early in the piece, that it is a relatively new advancement, but I reassure them that it is certainly a hot topic of conversation with the people who are in charge of progress. Okay, this is a common one. Hopefully you've got your own answer for this one. It's just salt and water. I had this one today from Spain, and I remind people it's made from salt and water. I say, look, I can see how the confusion could be very easily, sorry, Angela, your mic. I can see how it's a very simple confusion because the ingredients on the bottle say salt and water. However, those are just the starting ingredients. They are not the final contents of the product. There's a couple of things that I talk about. There's a 3.5-day patented process that turns those 4 atoms, hydrogen, oxygen, sodium, and chloride, into a suspension, a liquid with around 14 or 16 different types of redox signaling molecules. You cannot patent the process of making salt and water because it's readily available, and just, you can't patent that. I remind them that there's a bioagilitics certification, which is an independent bioanalysis laboratory that tells us that this product is certified for redox content. It's right here where it's made in America, bioagilitics on the back of the bottle. I remind people that the studies, when we have a third-party double-blind placebo study, the placebo is saline. So we actually test our product against salt and water. And finally, for the real skeptic, why don't you just take some ASEA and put it in a jar of water and see what happens to a flower against salt and water, or spray it into your eyeball. Compare it to salt and water so you can see the difference. So that's a fairly simple one to get across, and I just reassure people that it's a very common misconception so they don't feel a bit stupid. Okay, where's my moving forward? Whoa. But I found an article online that is negative. This is fabulous. There's literally like one article online that is negative. I see lots of different versions of the same article. It's dated 2012. The person who wrote it clearly just is a very sad about life, because that's all she does is try and find the negative version of every single product out there, even though many people are finding great wonderful results with lots of different products in the health industry. Her job is to tear everybody else down. So, you know, good on you if that's what you want to do with your life. But at least if you're going to do that, make sure you update the articles with research as it comes out. She's not done that, of course, because it would make the rest of that article pointless. So people say to me, I found an article online that's negative. I say, when was it dated? There's been incredible research that's been brought into light in the last few years about ASEA. Anything that we say about this product has been proven by an independent laboratory. And at the end of the day, everything has a positive and a negative. You can literally find articles online saying that the world is flat. There's a whole group of people that out there publishing material that the round earth theory is just a conspiracy. Yeah. So I remind people that just because it's on Google doesn't make it fact. Just because it's found by a search engine doesn't make it research. So I encourage people, and I say things like, Julie, you seem like an intelligent person. I'm really glad that you brought that up. Look, there's articles out there that are not current. There's articles that are misguided. But since you're interested in the research, let me point you towards things that are factual based, not opinion based. So fact based, we're going to go through to things like PubMed. We're going to go to the some websites that have been put together by health practitioners who understand redox. I'll direct them to Dr. Robert Ward's, I'll direct them to Dr. Gary Samuelson's blog, to certain articles by other ASEA people from the medical board. So I encourage them that what they're doing, researching, is a wonderful thing, and I want to encourage them to continue researching, but I'm going to help them identify factual information over opinion-based blogging. Okay, so now I'm going to wait and see what my doctor says. That's fabulous. I don't get on the other side of people. I just say, look, that's great. I think it's wonderful to have a conversation with your doctor. My only hesitation is that they may not be aware what this product is and what it does, because it is so new. And although there are many doctors involved with our company that know exactly how to work with redox, your own doctor may or may not know about it. And I don't want that to be a reason why you miss out on the health benefits of this technology. So let me ask you this question. What is it that you're seeking from your doctor? Would I be right in assuming that you just want to make sure it's not going to interfere with any of your current medication or health condition? They go, yes, yes. And you just want to make sure that it's safe and non-toxic. Would that be right? Is there anything else? So I'm going to ask them why they want to talk specifically to their doctor. And if it's those two things, which is usually what it is, I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with anything. And I want to make sure that it's safe and non-toxic. I say to them, great. Okay, so why don't you, if I could find that information, give you that reassurance, from one of our doctors, so somebody who already works with this product, would that help you feel comfortable taking this product? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get them to connect with information from a practitioner. That's what they need to feel good. They want to hear from a doctor that it's safe and non-toxic and it won't interfere with anything. That's fine. That's a fair question, but I'm going to share with them some videos from Dr. Ward, from Dr. Maureen Hayes. I'm going to put them into one of the health practitioner workshops so that they can get that reassurance from a doctor, even if it's not theirs, who may not have the information. Okay, so somebody who's going to talk about the opportunity. Some people fall in love with the product straight away. They can see that it's working. They might be clients. They're absolutely mad in love with the product, but they're not a fan of the distribution model. Firstly, when handling this objection, I'd like to say that I get in first. I like to be totally transparent and upfront and say to people when I'm having the conversation about the company, I'm the one to bring up network marketing so they can see from the very beginning what kind of a business model we have. So after I finished explaining what redox signaling is, I say, now, Julie, the reason you and I are having this conversation and it's not coming at you through your doctor is because very early on in the piece, when the product was first stabilized, the company founders had a choice to make. They did put this out to the pharmaceutical companies, but the big offer that was made to them was conditional to them closing down clinical trials that were in progress. And it posed a really big risk to terminally ill people who were getting better with the product. So you can imagine that they decided not to accept this offer, and a strategic decision was made instead to go through to go directly to market. What that means, Julie, is that anybody around the world in one of our open markets has the capacity to put up their hand and decide to help bring this technology to the world. So we can be a distribution point, whether you're a health practitioner, whether you're a yoga teacher, whether you have your own clinic, whether you're a beautician, or whether you're a concerned citizen just wanting to get this product to your family. So I explained the distribution model rather than it be a shock or surprise. So by the time that they understand that we get this product to the market by network marketing, they understand that it was the only and really the best option in order to get it safely to as many people and to ensure that this technology wasn't hidden from the world. So because I've given them the explanation, I really don't have this as an objection, hardly at all. But in the odd occasion when I do get somebody say, look, I'm just not a fan of network marketing or direct sales, whatever, I remind them that very few people are. You know, I share my experience. I say, look, I wasn't a fan, and I don't even know if I'm a fan of the industry in general. When I was at the beginning, I wasn't like a crazy fan of the industry. I was a fan of the results of this industry. And that's different. I say to people, look, I got involved firstly because the product worked, and this is the way that I could get the product to my family. Secondly, I got involved because I could see people in this company getting results that I wasn't getting from my traditional business. I'm not loyal to any particular company. I'm not loyal to any particular group of people. I'm loyal to getting the dreams and goals for my family and for the people I work with. So, and I'm just being candid. Of course, I'm loyal to this technology and this product. But when I talk to people, I try and relate to where they're at the beginning. I say to them, if somebody had said to me that peeling potatoes and and growing onions was going to set me free as a mum to spend time with my children, and was going to get the health back of my family, was going to give my parents a longer lifespan, was going to help me make a difference in people's lives, and was going to offer my family the opportunities to see the world and impact thousands of families, I would have been peeling potatoes and growing onions. But this is the vehicle that allows me to do all of that. And so I'm loyal to the results of this vehicle. Nobody wakes up, I don't think, as a 12-year-old and goes, oh, I want to be a network marketer. My kids do, because they see the kind of life that this business provides. But I certainly didn't grow up as a little girl hoping to be in network marketing. But I did have dreams. And this is the industry, the only industry that fulfills those dreams. So let's talk about the results instead of the industry. Okay, I'm wrapping up soon here, so make sure you post any other objections you want me to talk about. Here's one: I don't have time or money. I get through that fairly quickly. I just ask them a question: do you want that to change? You know, I can relate to that, John. I was running a business 2 years ago. I was a single mother with 4 boys at home. I was doing jobs, private jobs as well from the house. So I did not have time nor money. So I can relate to that. But I wanted that to change. How about yourself? Is this something you want to address, or are you happy for this to just keep going indefinitely? Again, I go back to, how do you see this changing in the next 5 to 10 years? What would you like to see differently in your life in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your objectives, John, for the next 5 to 10 years? I listen, I embrace what they're saying, and then I ask them questions like, do you feel that you're on track? Do you think that what you're currently doing is likely to give you those results? And honestly, if what they're currently doing is going to give them all their dreams and goals, maybe we really don't have anything to talk about. Maybe they're not a right fit. But the reality is that for most people, they're on a vehicle that they've chosen for the wrong reasons. A lot of people make decisions about, well, would I like to do this business? Do I feel like it? Do I think I can do it? These are all questions, but they're not great questions. The only question we should ask when making a business decision is, Could this give me the results that I seek? Could this be a vehicle to give me my goals and dreams? Could this give me the outcome? So many times we make decisions based on all the wrong things, and then we wonder why we end up frustrated and stuck. What ASEA can give you is the ability to work from home, have the freedom to work when you want, how you want, from wherever you want, and have the ability to dial in the income that you wish to have. I just don't know any other vehicle that does that. Those of you who know me know that I move between 2 countries constantly. I don't know any other job, any other business that could give me the freedom that we have. Today, we found out that one of our little boys has to have a surgical procedure tomorrow in hospital. You know, I'm so grateful to have the time that I can just be there for him. I don't have to ask anybody for permission to be there for my son. And we have the funds, thanks to ASEA, to be able to pay for it all to be done immediately. So I think that this objection about not having time or money is one that's very common, but it's very easy to ask that question, do you want that to change? Because for us, this has been what has changed, thanks to ASEA, the abundance of time and the abundance of the funds to do good things with that time. And finally, I'd like to address somebody that is just on the fence. You know, you call them, I've had a look at the information. No, I haven't. Yeah, I have. Oh, I've got more questions. I'll come back to you. Look, firstly, I'd like to just share with you, I don't know how to get everybody off the fence. I've got some people that have died on the fence, and that's fine. Not everybody's good at making decisions. In fact, most people are really poor at making decisions. That comes with entrepreneurs make fast decisions, visionaries make fast decisions, business people make fast decisions. But most people make poor decisions and they don't make decisions at all. So don't be too worried if you've got people that don't want to commit to anything. That's just life. But in order to get somebody off the fence, or at least try to get them off the fence, you've got to, I believe, you've got to ask decisive questions. So I was trying to be everybody's best friend at the beginning, and so I never wanted to ask for a decision. I never wanted to close the door on anybody, but sometimes that's exactly what you have to do. So the things that I might ask would be, as Mal said, John, are you looking at this for your health or for the opportunity? I'd say, what else do you need to know in order to take the next step? What is stopping you from coming on board? What information do you require to make a decision? I want specifically draw something from them. Now, if they're still not making a decision, I'll say, Julie, I've provided you with as much information as I can at this time. Reach out to me if you have any questions. You've got everything in your hands to make a decision. Let me know. I'll leave it in your hands. Let me know when you have. I give them a real sense that I'm not contacting them anymore, that I am moving on. It's really funny sometimes when you do that, when you begin to close the door, people go, well, wait a second, don't leave me outside, don't leave me behind. Sometimes you've got to be the one to make the decision for them, not in a rude way, but just let them know you're moving forward, you're moving on. And finally, learn, gain experience by doing it over and over again. Anything that is worth doing well is worth doing poorly at the beginning. So get out there and have a few conversations. The only conversation that is a bad conversation is the one you didn't have. I've brought people on board from conversations that were very average, when I was unprepared and I probably said the wrong things, and somehow they've still seen the miracle that is this technology and they've come on board. And then I've done some phone calls that I thought were brilliant and I handled every objection and I was just a rock star, and they didn't come on board. So honestly, who knows? Have enough conversations and don't worry about the outcomes. Don't worry about the outcome, because everybody is walking around probably with a little bit of low self-esteem in some areas, and everybody's walking around a bit protective and scared to get hurt. So every objection is just an opportunity for us to help people believe in themselves a little bit more and give them a little bit of the trust and confidence that they have come to a safe place. Okay, final thoughts. Know when to walk away. We covered that. Identify the genuine questions. Some people are just there to muck around and to be, smart Alex. So don't spend your time. You'll get to know who's actually curious and interested and really wanting answers, and who just wants to kick the tires. So don't waste time there. If some people want to believe what they want to believe, just let them go. You don't want to work with them anyway. And don't worry about outcomes. That would be my real strong final message. Don't be worried about what happens next. You have no control. You do have control as to whether you get on the phone one more time. And the way to not care too much about any one conversation is have plenty of them. There was a statement in one of these slides before that said, you don't need everybody. Well, you do need everybody if you're only making one phone call a year. You really need that guy, But if you're making tons of phone calls and you're making calls whilst you're at the shops and you're calling people back from the car and you are talking to people whilst you're chasing your kids with a broom. Oh, I don't do that. If you're out there doing your life and you're having conversations, then not one conversation is going to make or break you. Now, take a screenshot. If you like, people ask me what I send. More and more, I send less and less. This is what I send, and here's a couple of things that I've learned recently about information. I do less emails and more text messages. Very few people get on their emails, but they've got their phones in their hands. And so they're waiting for the bath to fill up, waiting for the coffee. They're more likely to look at stuff. I send a combination of a little video and a little article, because some people are readers, some people like videos. So I send one of each. I like this combination. The doctors review RSMs because everyone's hung up on what the doctor says, and that's got about 8 doctors talking about redox molecules. So that's a nice little clip. That's the one that's got Dr. Gary Samuelson and a few other people from the medical board talking about ASEA. It's a 5-minute video. It's brilliant. And I like this little article on honey colony, why you need to know about redox signaling molecules, because it's quite independent. It's not an ASEA type of article. It looks like what it is, which is just an independent review of what redox signaling molecules are, explains it nicely. If anybody's interested in the opportunity, I send them the Genesis of ASEA, because it's fabulous. I rewatched it the other day and I was like, oh, I should just send this out to everyone all the time. It's brilliant. Tells you our origins, why we decided to go down this route, what this technology is. And this one that Malcolm likes to share, which I've started sharing as well, is ASEA Transformational Technology. Explains why the opportunity is as exciting as it is. But honestly, I think send less. I like to get onto people's text messages, and the important thing is that you come back and follow up. And if you've sent an email that is 78 pages long and it's got 203 minutes of videos on it and subsequent links, then I hope your follow-up is next year, because they probably won't get to it. If it's a 5-minute video in their phone, you can get through those follow-ups a lot faster. Okay, that's me done. Let's see what
there's a couple of questions there. Do you want to answer them? Cool. So what do you say if somebody says, is it FDA approved?
So I say to them, it doesn't have to be, because it's not a drug. So we need to be FDA regulated, which we are. So the FDA oversees the production facility, ensures that the quality control is there. Thankfully, we're not a drug, so we don't come under that regulation. I let them know that the product is classified as a nutritional supplement or as a food supplement, and we meet the criteria that we need to meet in those categories.
Absolutely. So the next one, what about I need to run it by my nutritionist? Similar to the doctor, same answer.
Yeah, same thing with the doctor. I'll say to them, I'll ask them, oh, great, do you know if your nutritionist is in the habit of, is experienced in redox signaling. I ask that because it's a really new field and not every nutritionist is up to speed. I want to make sure that if your nutritionist is you know, lacking a little bit in the understanding of how redox works, I want to make sure that that's not a reason why you miss out on the benefits. I can put you in touch though with a nutritionist if that's really important to you, who is on board and understands how redox works, and then I might refer them to Dr. Wayne Pickstone or to some of the other people on the team for an appointment.
Yeah, cool. So there's another one here. My friend's doctor didn't allow me to use any supplements, including ASEA, for her disease. How to answer this objection?
So, I say to people, it's really disappointing that that somebody might not allow you to use something that actually is already in your body. I say, look, the main reason doctors will stop somebody from using ASEA is simply when they don't understand it. And it would be a real shame for you to miss out on the benefits. Now, at the end of the day, your doctor, your nutritionist, is their responsibility to advise you. They don't, they're not in charge of making final decisions for you. You can seek the opinions of a different doctor, or listen to the endorsement of the dozens and dozens of doctors we already work with who do understand this technology. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make decisions for yourself on your health.
Yeah. So someone else has also asked, at the end, can you just pop up that screen again with what you send? Just if you just leave it up there for a minute after we've finished, and then I'll just close the meeting. So there is a thing here from Al. Al has a great testimonial from today if he wants to unmute himself. You there, Big Al? Is he there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. I see you've got a wonderful testimonial. How about you share it with Cristina? Probably hasn't read it yet because she's been busy. How about you share it with everyone?
Well, it was fantastic. This fellow I know that's 53-year-old, he's already had a serious cell dividing issue which affects people's fertility, and he married a younger girl recently and who wanted to have a family, and he went and got his sperm tested, and his sperm was alive, but it wasn't moving. There was no mobility in it. And the doctor, the top fertility fellow in Toowoomba, told him there was no way he would sire children. And then, in no time at all, she's pregnant. And he said the only thing that had changed was he started taking ASEA.
Be careful, everybody. Be careful. Dose up tonight. Hey, Jules, I'll tell you something, testimony, guys. I'm going to put this on ASEA Healthy Self. This is one of the wildest things I've ever heard, and she's allowing me to share it. We met this fabulous, I think I may have mentioned it, fabulous lady at the markets. My son actually said, Mum, you need to tell her she had a rapidly dividing cells, masses in her lungs. About 3 weeks after starting on ASEA, she coughed up the first mass.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So that's not it. Like, they biopsied that, and it was one of the dangerous growths. She told me today she's now brought up a second one.
Holy dooly.
Yeah, she's literally bringing up this disease. She's been on the product 2 months. She said her energy levels, she can breathe. She's back at the gym. She was, it was a really emotional conversation. She said, thank you so much for talking to me about this. So
that's amazing.
I just think that when I'm handling objections, I remember those people, and I think I'll take if there's any yucky ones out there, I'll take them just so I can get to the good people.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's amazing. We know personally of all of these stories. We know personally people who've been through them, and it doesn't really matter what anyone says to me about redox technology anymore. It's like, whatever, you believe whatever you want. And I'm so totally confident that objections just don't matter anymore. And I think everybody on the call will get like that eventually. They just need to be game enough to just go out and do it at first, so that you are changing people's lives. Because if you don't do it because you're afraid of an objection, you're never going to do it.
Exactly. And that confidence, Julie, is exactly, I think, what gives you the courage, the energy to keep going. Because if somebody said to you, what's something that you really believe in, you know, like for example, I believe water is good for me, right? That's something that's a fact to me. If somebody said to me on the street, oh no, water's, you know, really dangerous, you shouldn't drink any, it wouldn't challenge me at all, because I know what my truth is. I know what the truth is. And when you have that level of certainty in what's in here, then you might even find it amusing when somebody else has a different opinion.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Does anyone else have any other questions for Cristina? We've had a great night tonight, Cristina. You've had 120 people. Yeah, well, they're just dropping off now, but it's still way over 100. So that's amazing.
Well, we better cut it. We better cut it whilst it's.
Oh, hang on, I've got one more question. I am very healthy, so I do not need any supplements, including ASEA. I just need to eat healthy, have healthy lifestyle, and do regular exercise. They have a disease, don't they? It's called aging.
Yeah, that's it. I had this objection from somebody recently on the phone, and yeah, I think I shared it with you guys. I said to the person, you're exposed to the same world we're all in. Statistically, you're not safe. And if you're happy to take that gamble, honestly, it's your choice. But we made a choice in our family that we want to stack the odds against us, because what is in the environment is statistically likely to make you sick. You protect yourself against that, or roll the Russian, what's it called?
Yep, exactly. Roulette board.
All right, everyone.
Can you pop that screen up once more? Can you find that?
Yep.
So people can just, Christina's going to put up for a second. So can you just take a photo of it with your phone?
There we go, guys. I'll put them in the newsletter this week as well.
Sorry, there's one more thing here, Cristina. Someone was saying, what about someone who says we're all out there to make money from the sign-ups?
Yeah, look, I let people know that from the actual registration, we don't earn anything.
No, exactly.
So for me to sign, and then I remind them that what is the objective of their doctor? Do they object to paying for a naturopath? What about when they go to the chiro? These people take their money. Is that their objective? No. But any business, as long as you are receiving a service that you're happy with, then that's a fair transaction. We have a 30 money back guarantee if you're not happy with the transaction. But at the end of the day, this is, we operate just like every other person in the health industry. We provide a service, we provide a product.
Yep.
Most people are very, very happy with.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being with me.